Hey, what's up, guys? Congrats to Derek Chisora on his victory over Kubrat Pulev. Um, I scored the fight 116, 115 for Derek Chisora. I had a few even rounds in the fight. Going into the last round, the fight was even on my scorecard, and Chisora won that round. Um, it appeared that Pulev was the aggressor. He was going forward, but with Chisora on the ropes, he landed several big shots, several flush power shots that won him the round, ultimately won him the fight. Um, in my opinion, this fight was too close for Pulev to get a decision or expect a decision against this guy in England, in London. Um, I'm shocked by this result, guys. I had Pulev. I thought Pulev was going to win this fight big. I didn't think this fight was going to be close. He When the odds were first released for the fight, they would pick 'em odds. I was laughing. I thought the odds makers were wrong. Well, turns out they were right because the fight was that close. Um, Money came pouring in on Pulev. I put a decent amount on Pulev. I even put a little bit on the knockout. I thought he was getting in with with an old shot guy, and he would define him and ultimately stop him. Well, this was a brutal fight, and not a good brutal. This was honestly one of the worst heavyweight fights I ever seen. It started getting good towards the end of the fight, actually. I think starting with the eighth and ninth round when they kind of started landing on each other, going back and forth. But and the drama picked up in the fight. But I mean, this I'm looking at Pulev's face in slow motion as they read the decision. This was an embarrassing loss for him, man. He needs to retire. I thought even though he was 3 years older than Chisora, I felt that he still had more in the tank. He was more prime of the two guys. I mean, his only losses were against one for sure Hall of Famer and a one potential Hall of Famer. Most likely will be a Hall of Famer in AJ. Um, Guys, he only lost to those type of guys, world champions, and he just came off a good performance against Jerry Force. A guy who was young and in his prime. He won that fight. I don't know if he just took this fight too soon. And I think it was like a little bit less than 2 months. When he had that fight. Maybe he should have taken more time off and recovered. Maybe he would have been sharper. But they can't use that as an excuse because going into the fight they were saying how good he was, how he was 100%, all this and that. The fact of the matter is, while Chisora looked tired and shot, Pulev was old and inaccurate. I cannot recall ever seeing a boxer, especially a heavyweight boxer, being so inaccurate in the fight. I mean, he could not hit Chisora for the most part, man. Super inaccurate. I mean, it seemed like seemingly every shot he threw at the head, Chisora was just, bobbing and weaving, getting out of the way, avoiding the shots, man. Um, Pulev should have just threw. He should have just threw to the body, to the arms, instead of head hunting. Hit him to the body, throw to the body where it's harder for him to get out of the way. Um, I mean, he only really hurt Chisora once in the fight, and then when he hurt him, he stood and looked at him and gave him a second to recover instead of just storming the guy. Oh boy, I tell you, really both of them should retire, but Chisora gonna go on. I thought he should retire after the Joseph Parker fight. I'm like, why is Eddie giving this guy another opportunity? And he pulls this off. You know, Chisora seemingly is going to be one of those guys, man, is going to have some issues after he retires, health issues. You know, I just, but I give him credit. I thought he won this fight. One judge scored at 116, 112 for Pulev. That was a terrible scorecard, man. I didn't have Pulev winning, but even if he did, it couldn't have been by no more than 1 point. I thought at best Pulev could have got a draw in this fight, especially considering it was in London, But when they said, I think it was Steve Grace's guy's name, when they said this last scorecard, I knew Chisora won. When it was a 2 point scorecard, he wasn't gonna score that fight for Pulev, man. The referee was biased as hell. Pulev lucky he didn't get a point taken away. The ref was all over Pulev for stuff, for any little thing. Meanwhile, Chisora would do the exact same thing, and he would not get on Chisora's case at all. Would not threaten to take a point or anything. Bias, British box board collusion. That's exactly what it is, man. It was unfair, But even so, Pulev didn't win the fight. He was too inaccurate, man. That's the bottom line. I'm seeing him getting hit flush now. Clearly Chisora landed the more flush shots in the fight. The more effective power shots, the clear power shots. You know, um, and Pulev was missing a lot, man. Bottom line, he looked, like I said, old and inaccurate. And while Chisora was tired and shot, I mean, who was Chisora gonna fight? They talking about he wanted Deontay Wilder, man. He gets knocked out, man. Come on. Even a Deontay Wilder coming off of, 2 knockout defeats, seemingly not into the sport anymore, on a long hiatus, all this and that. Man, if Wilder still has hand speed, and if he hits this guy flush, man, he could seriously hurt this guy and knock him out cold, man. You know, Chisora get in with somebody, he still, hell, I'll bet against him in his next fight if it's somebody, decent, competent. I didn't know Pulev was gonna get in there and look, old and slow, inaccurate. I thought he still had something in the tank. He just beat a young prime Jerry Forrest, you know. So I know a lot of people lost money on this fight, man, because Pulev went from pick 'em odds to some places. I think he was minus 300 or higher. Hell, I thought he should have been a minus 500 favorite in this fight because I view him as being such a better fighter than Chisora, man. And Chisora, shot. Oh boy, this was, man, bad loss for me. Bad loss for a lot of gamblers, man. I didn't see this coming. This was a terrible performance by Pulev. Very inaccurate. One of the most inaccurate performances I ever seen. One of the worst heavyweight fights I ever seen, man. I'm seeing Chisora on in the back on some like exercise bike, elliptical machine, seated, and like somebody interviewing him. Yeah, it might be cooling because I'm seeing the Everlast microphone, but man, this is wow. Shocking result to me. I can't believe it. Who was going with Chisora in this fight, you know? So I think that's it, guys. Let me know what you thought about this fight. If you didn't see it, don't bother watching the full fight. Hell, you'd be better off just watching some highlights, cause this fight was not pleasing to watch, man. Like I said, it was a tired shot guy going against an old inaccurate guy, and that made for a hard fight to watch, man. These guys couldn't find each other, you know, in the beginning of the fight until like the 8th round on. Then they start landing on each other. It was hard to watch. So I think that's it, guys. I will be betting against Chisora again, especially if he fights like they were trying to put him in against Adam Kanaki, man. They were just trying to get him a win because Adam Kanaki's done, man. He is, hell, hell, that should have been a knockout win for him. That's what they were trying to do. I don't know. Shit, Deontay Wilder should chomp at the bit to fight Derek Chisora. Really anybody should, Um, like I said, I think they both should retire, man. I do. Pulev should be embarrassed by this defeat, man. There's no way he should have lost to a Derek Chisora, especially an old shot Derek Chisora, man, who was tired and exhausted in the fight. Pulev couldn't hit the guy. Pulev should announce his retirement. And if anybody cared about Chisora, they would implore him to retire also. because he is taking too many flush shots, been too many wars. He needs to call it a day, man. They both do. So terrible fight. you know, it's gonna be interesting to see how Eddie try to sugarcoat it, but that shit was brutal, man. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you thought about the fight, and I'll check in with you guys soon. Thanks for watching.